Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our podcast, Simply Technical, which I am one of your hosts, Evan, and this is the other host, Keaton Minor, or Keaton. Probably shouldn't say your last name.
Yeah,
Doxed.
no.
Doxed. And
we're going to find you.
Oops. I'm pretty sure I said your last name on any other one, so it's fine. This is our guest, enthusiast of esports, which is our topic. He plays a lot of games, knows a lot about it, keeps up on all the news. So he's who we turn to. This is Dillon. I don't know if you want your last name, Dillon.
No, that's all right. I'm Dillon.
Okay. All right, that's Dillon. So like I said...
I'm just kidding. It's Burns, if anybody wants to know.
Doxed. He doxed himself. So our first order of business is esports. This industry has grown quite a bit in the last 6 years. I don't know if we consider it even some people consider it a sport, some people don't.
Nope.
Keaton doesn't.
I do not.
Keaton doesn't like it as a sport. We could talk about that. We can start out with that if you want. So, Keaton, why do you say it's not a sport?
I think sports demand a certain threshold of physicality, and obviously esports don't require a physical input of any kind except for your fingers twiddling.
Working out your fingers, as my parents always said.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't really think of it as a sport either, but the market is massive.
Yes, I will completely agree. I kind of hated it at first, but I kind of stay on the side of the free market, and if this is what the market wants, if they're going to pay $3 million to a Fortnite winner, then
yeah,
that's what we're going to get.
And the market definitely does want it.
Yeah.
I think I was reading something and it was like, I think it was like 2012 or 2013, the industry was like less than $100 million, and this year it's projected to break $1 billion, which that growth is just like ridiculous for any market.
Yeah.
Well, not only has esports in general grown, but streamers have grown.
Mm-hmm.
Twitch has blown up. Ninja's blown up, which is a whole nother story on his Switch. But it's crazy how far it's come and how much more potential it has. One of my friends, Chance, he's been a previous guest, has always said, definitely the last couple of years, he said that esports will be bigger than the NFL because it encapsulates so much, and there's so much content out there that can be made, being made right now, and has been made.
Yeah.
So
when you say it encapsulates so much, what do you mean?
I mean, obviously they're all video games, but
yeah,
there's so many different types of games.
Yeah.
And some of those games and winnings we'll get into in a little bit, but you have League of Legends, which is pretty huge. I don't follow it very much, but I know it's big. Overwatch has been big for a while. Halo
was big.
It was big.
It'll come.
It was like one of the first big ones.
It's still for a dead game. It's kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't come out with a Halo game in a while,
right.
But they're coming out with one
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah,
Infinite, right?
Halo Infinite, and it's supposed to be 4K.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's on the new gen, but
yeah, that's the other thing about just video games in general is it's a lot easier to adapt it to like the different markets because like for instance the NFL, if you don't like football then you're just not a fan of the NFL, but it's a lot easier to like have different kinds of games to where like, oh yeah, I don't really like racing games, but I still like video games because there's so many other kinds, so it's a lot easier to like reach a broader market with that.
Yeah, I mean there's going to be games, I mean I don't know if WoW, World of Warcraft is going to expand into esports, but
right.
that some of those games have less potential in that aspect,
mm-hmm.
but a lot of these games, first-person shooters, third-person shooters, I don't know what kind of game mode you would consider a League or Overwatch.
MOBA.
Yeah. And what Overwatch is a class-based shooter.
Yeah.
So this competitiveness is growing, I guess, in the world. And there's a whole lot more esports teams now than there ever has been.
Right.
I was looking up standings for Fortnite earlier of the different winnings, and there's teams I'd never heard of, teams that seem like they got made up 2 weeks before the World Cup, Fortnite World Cup, like Team Queso. Shout out to them.
Team Queso.
Yeah. So, like I said, it just seems like people are just making them up.
Yeah.
But speaking of Fortnite, they just had the World Cup, which we've all played. Some of us more than others, like myself.
Some of us more than others. I think it's just Evan more than others.
Others, as in I've played more than them combined. And I like
probably by quite a bit.
All right, let's chill. And I like to keep up with it. There's actually quite a bit of drama surrounding Fortnite, and their constant updates. Fortnite's done something that no other game has done, which is weekly updates.
Yeah.
They pushed their workers. There was even talks of their workers going on strike because they were being overworked so much. They didn't get vacations, which they adjusted. But the World Cup just ended, and the prize pool was of $30 million over 3 different contests, 3 days.
Yeah.
So, Dillon, what's your...
That's ridiculous. That's an unbelievable amount of money. I like followed League Esports for, since probably like 5 or 6 years now, but the prize pool is never anywhere close to that. And we talked about this, about how it's probably because like there are so many like things that you can buy in Fortnite, and so many ways that they like, which props to them for having ways that they can generate income for a free game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just an absurd amount of money.
Where does the money come from? Like, who is giving this $30 million prize pool?
Fortnite.
Epic Games.
Fortnite is okay.
Epic
So
Games.
it's
Epic Games, which is the owner of
an
Fortnite.
advertisement for their game, and
Essentially.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
They started out as their game mode called Save the World, which was somewhat popular.
Which I actually played before the Battle Royale was real. Just my hipster drop.
Yeah.
Before it was cool. I was out here on Save the World.
And that's really just like a survival game, kind of against cartoon zombies.
Yeah.
Is the best way to... And, it was somewhat popular. They released the Battle Royale, which had a lot of bugs, wasn't really a complete game.
Mm-hmm. Which, to be fair, all the Battle Royales at that time were the same way. PUBG was
beta,
unplayable
quote unquote,
at that
beta.
time. Like, some of my friends were really into PUBG, and I was just so sick of it because it was just...
I started out that way.
It was an absolutely broken game. And then you had, like, H1Z1, and you had...
Which was super toxic with their proximity chat.
That's like the meme standard for, like, toxic proximity chat. But yeah, all those games were like, I don't know if it was just like hard to balance and flesh out games in that genre, but they were all just a mess at that time.
So it started out pretty small. I think the way most people found out about it is they were paying streamers to play. Epic Games was paying streamers to play the game to kind of get their name out. Hey, this is a advertised stream. Come watch me play this game. It's new. It's Battle Royale, and Battle Royale was just taking off at the time. Mm-hmm. H1Z1 was probably the most complete game out of all of those. Yeah. King of the Hill kind of game, I think, is what H1Z1, King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Keaton, I don't know if you've ever heard of H1Z1.
Uh-uh.
It's kind of like PUBG, but
it looks a lot like PUBG when you.
I think it's less
look at them
detailed.
side by side.
Yeah,
it is. I think that's why they finished it.
So, they put less work into it, or need to put less work into it, and it was super, like I said, toxic. And they were paying streamers to play, and the streamers were kind of like, "Hey, this game's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I like this new aspect of building."
Yeah.
And one of my favorite streamers, Tim the Tapman, every time he buys something in the item shop, he says, "Free game, by the way."
Free game, by the way. I watched Tim. So Tim was an Overwatch streamer years and years ago. Like when Overwatch competitive play first came out, he was like the first streamer that I ever watched because he was playing Overwatch. He was okay, but Overwatch made him so toxic. Like
Now he's such a nice guy, happy-going
he still
guy.
talks about like how Overwatch just made him a terrible person. But, I mean, he was good at it, and I liked watching him play, but...
He's pretty funny.
Now he's all Fortnite, and I hardly ever watch him, so...
Well, Keaton, what's your stance on these Twitch streamers, on them making tons of money?
I used to think it was stupid, but I've had a change of heart recently.
Because of how much money they made?
Yeah, well, no, I just think it's... I personally could never see myself giving money to a streamer. I think that's kind of insane, but I mean, if people do it, then they do it. You made a good point that one time we were talking about that. It's like if I was to meet, if Dwayne Wade wasn't getting paid millions of dollars and he was funded by his fans,
Right.
and I wanted a moment to like get attention from him, then maybe I probably would donate $20. So you made it make sense. I still am a little bit surprised that there's that many people that donate and
subscribe is one.
And I just can't ever see myself watching someone play video games. I'll play Xbox, but to me, I'd rather play than watch.
Yeah.
So maybe you guys can argue that, or not really argue, but
go along with
explain
that.
yourselves.
Yeah. So I've donated before. I think I've donated probably $100 over probably 10 months. And several of them have been to like tell jokes of they say something and then I just roast them. And usually I give them like $5 amounts. So, and there's others of like, they have a discussion, they say something, and I want to get my point out there that you can't say in the chat because there's 7,000 other people chatting at that same time. Right. So Ninja described it. If you don't know Ninja, look him up.
If you don't know Ninja, then
one of the best.
I even know Ninja,
so if you don't, look him up. Huge earner, but he explained it best. When you walk down the street, you see a guy playing guitar. And he's playing guitar. He's playing his heart out for you. He sounds horrible, or he's good. Maybe he's good.
Yeah. You toss $5.
You toss $5 into there, or with your subscription, you give them $2.50 every month. Yeah. Like, hey, I like your dream. I'll support you with $2.50 a month.
Right.
Or your free sub with Twitch Prime.
That's one thing that was like, I think changed Twitch a lot and made Twitch a lot bigger than it was when they partnered with Amazon.
Oh, well, so Amazon bought Twitch. They didn't partner. Right, they bought,
Yeah. And so everybody that's an Amazon Prime member gets a free sub. And so that's all that I've ever done.
I have a free sub. Then.
There you go.
Who should I subscribe to?
I've never spent money on Twitch, but I'm like almost a year-long subscriber with my free subscriber to one of my favorite League streamers. So I'm a cutie.
So it was free. So it's a free way to support. Right. It's free. As in
I'm
the fact that
the Prime membership anyway. So.
Yes. Yeah. So you get it every month because you pay for Prime.
Right.
So that's another aspect of Amazon Prime with free shipping. Yeah. You get a free sub
in the world.
Yeah, which we were just talking about on the way here.
Our overlords.
How they're probably going to take over, but I'm kind of fine with it.
Of course.
As long as I get my delivery in 2 days.
Yeah. I ordered two
One
things.
day.
I ordered 2 things this afternoon at like 3 o'clock. And they're going to be here tomorrow before 5, which is just baffling. Like, that's just crazy to me.
Twitch was acquired by Amazon.
Right.
They do this free Twitch Prime thing, which made Twitch just accelerate. Mm-hmm. Because people are like, I have this free. They did great job marketing. I have this free Twitch Prime thing. I just got to link my accounts. Mm-hmm. You're donating to your favorite streamer. Your streamer's making a ton of money. People are on the site more, and they're watching more ads. Or if they're subbing to that guy, they don't watch ads for him. But like I know, so another streamer that I watch is Cypher PK. Before Twitch became big, he had anywhere from 50 to 300 subs, depending on the time of day. If people were renewing, constantly or continuously, which that's not very much money. Yeah. But he was still full-time at the time.
Right.
Like, he was still playing video games as a job. Mm-hmm. Twitch blew up. Now he has 15,000, approximately. 1,000 subs, and for every sub, he gets at least $2.50. If he's a preferred streamer, he gets $3.50.
Yeah.
So you can do the math. That's a lot of money
And
just
that's
for
not
15,000.
even donations.
Donations,
Which
sponsorships.
I wouldn't be surprised. I bet streamers like Tim and Ninja make way more money through donations than they do through subs.
Oh,
Wow.
Just because the donations are, people dropping
$20.
Yeah, $20, $50, and
Hundreds of dollars.
yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, that's what blows my mind. Although I kind of just thought of this now, but it makes more sense too if small streamers are trying to get put on by these big streamers, so they'll donate $50.
Hey, come watch my stream.
Give me a shout out or something.
Yeah.
So I can see that aspect of it, but man, $50 just gone like that.
I know.
For maybe nothing.
Yeah.
I know people donate to Tim to make him watch videos.
Yeah, and sometimes, in the mornings at least, he does top D only for links, once he gets tired of it. And so you have to donate more than the highest donating person. So if someone drops $100,
You got to donate at least 101.
You have to drop $101
How do you
for him to even
point
get
where
to
people
the link.
just donate to you for that?
You got to have 30,000 people watching you, or 10,000 people watching you.
Yeah, well, what makes a good Twitch streamer? What makes him better than someone else?
Like Evan Lockhart, EXN Jetamind.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, he's funnier than me. At least on stream, he's funnier than me.
On stream.
I'm sure he's funnier than me in real life too.
No, probably not.
He has more tattoos than you.
He has more tattoos, but he's been grinding for a long time. He started streaming when he got out of college and was being a social worker.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Just come home after work and
Yeah, and stream.
Just like Evan does.
Yeah, well, it's been a while.
He was playing World of Warcraft back then too.
He was just playing games that he enjoyed, and he's grown. And before he had his son, he had around 40,000 subs. And you ask him, he's not even that good at games.
Yeah,
but he's personable. He's funny. He memes himself, and he memes other people, and people love that kind of stuff.
so it's like a degree of marketing and branding that these guys.
And they also do merch.
Yep.
And I think the reason the way he got his name is, I think one of his college professors said, "Oh, what's your name?" He's like, "Tim," and he's like, "Oh, sick tats." Kind of like, it's like, "I'm gonna call you Tim the Tap Man," and that's why he got.
And he
his
said,
name.
"Haha, suck it. Now I make millions of dollars
Yeah.
because of what you said."
Insane.
But yeah, so when this just kind of shows how fickle, I guess, the streaming market is, but he actually was really good at Overwatch, but he was nowhere near as popular as he is now, being slightly above average at Fortnite. He's good at Fortnite, but he's not like Doc and Ninja and that level. But he makes way more money and is way more popular now just because of the way Fortnite is and how much Twitch has grown, even though he was way better comparatively at Overwatch. So
Seems like people just enjoy him.
He's just a good guy.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
He's
I'll
like an
go off-
entertainer, rather.
Yeah,
than,
correct.
Yeah.
So there's another. So most people are themselves online when they stream.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
There's Dr. Disrespect, which Keaton, I don't think you've ever heard of him or watched him.
Probably not.
He's hilarious, but in his almost toxic masculinity
Yeah.
way. Which is a whole nother subject, but we'll
he
stick
wears
to
a fake mustache.
No, he has a real mustache.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
I
it's
think I've
not
seen videos
it's
of
not
him.
like the one that he used to wear.
Oh, okay, yeah. And he wears a black, steel black mullet.
Mm-hmm.
He has always has his vest on, almost like a ballistics vest.
Always super dark sunglasses.
And he rotates colors, and he's basically just disrespectful to people. He started out in college playing video games and posting on YouTube of him and his roommates just yelling at kids on Halo. Halo 2. He started Halo 2 and he got on there in the lobby, and I think they had proximity chat in Halo 2. And he would just
They did.
taunt them.
I was
as
probably
he's,
in that lobby right there.
Keaton was in there getting triggered by Dr. Disrespect.
Definitely.
And so they just he just yell at the other people and make fun of them, and that's how he's made his content. And he's transferred into streaming. He was once the top gamer. He had a stint where he cheated on his wife, but
that's another thing about streaming, though. Like, you get into those people's personal lives because
you're with them every day, basically.
Yes, literally, like, everything that they do and say, like, you're there with them. So, like, when Tim had his baby, everybody was like, "Oh, we have a son!" Like, all these random people in chat.
We're so proud of our son.
But then, like, you have all this drama of like,
they mess up.
Yeah, they mess up in their lives, and then you like hear about it because it affects their work or what they do for a living. But yeah, it's
and Ninja was kind of like that, not
interesting.
with cheating, but being toxic. People would literally say, "Ninja, you make too much money. I'm not giving you any more money." Like,
that sounds more like America. That's
you make too much money. I'm not going to buy your product, or
yeah.
But Dr. Disrespect, he literally plays another character. They interviewed him. His name's Guy Beam, I think, or something like that. Yeah. He actually helped design some maps for Call of Duty, and that kind of launched him. His streaming and video games launched him into designing stuff for, I think, Activision. Or I think it's Activision.
Yeah, it's Activision. I'm pretty sure.
And he came back into the streaming world, but they interviewed him and like, so how hard is it? And he said, it's not. I'm playing a character.
Yeah.
Like, I think of it as acting, and like he's literally an entertainer, like kind of like a Hollywood entertainer.
Yeah.
But when he's on camera, he's that toxic person.
Yeah.
And he's like. At least, as far as I know, he's like, well, yeah, he's like, he has 2 kids, I think.
Yeah.
But he's like one of the like OG Battle Royale streamers. Like, he was streaming when H1Z1 was like struggling, and he like was part of the reason that PUBG got big before it should have gotten big. Yeah, him and Shroud playing Battle Royale games all the time.
And so, kind of speaking of Shroud. That crossover between being professional and being a streamer is very fine line.
Yeah,
that's very. So Keaton, you probably don't know who Shroud is, but he streamed, didn't he, for a little bit, and then he got popular and he went to play professional for Cloud9, right? And he kind of hated it.
Yeah,
there was so much pressure.
He didn't play. I don't think he was professional for very long.
No, maybe a year or 2.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm sure he made way less money playing as a professional than he did as a streamer, or at least than he does as a streamer now. I'm sure the earning potential is way higher as a streamer than as like
because you have to win, gamer. You have to perform.
Yeah.
If you don't perform well, then you lose.
Like
in streaming,
Tim could never be a professional because he's garbage, but he makes way more than all the professional players do just because of his like personality and his entertainment aspect. But
so, kind of going off of that. The guy that just won the Fortnite, we're kind of switching gears back to the Fortnite, the World Cup. Booga, the guy that won, that's his nickname.
Oh,
that's not his real name. His real name is Kyle something.
He's that $3 million away.
You'll put some respect on Booga. So he wasn't really popular as a streamer. But now that he won the tournament, he won. He's known as the best player of Fortnite, best Fortnite player, and obviously there's some random RNG of into the games, but obviously he won. He got 59 points, which includes winnings or winning. You get certain points for winning, kills, placements, all that kind of stuff. So he got 59. The next closest player was 33.
Almost doubled their score.
Yeah.
Out of like how many people were in the tournament?
100 for the solos. He won solos.
So from first place to second place out of 100, there was a 36 point or 20 whatever 26.
26 points.
26. That's it. 26 point.
He's not
difference.
An engineer.
Like,
so.
That's just crazy. You would think with that many players that the gap would
and
be
they're
a lot
the best
smaller.
players in the world.
Yeah.
And he's 16-year-old. There's a kid, so he's 16-year-old. A kid that got 5th was 13. The youngest you can be is 13 to compete, according to, I believe it's California law and according to Fortnite policy. You have to be 13.
Hmm.
So
And
he's 13 years
still
old.
won like probably
Was he
$1 million
fifth
bucks.
I saw
place?
he won
Yeah,
900,000. I saw it on Twitter. Yeah,
13 years old, and his mom. I saw a tweet or something
That's a lot
about
of
him.
Fortnite skins.
He
I mean,
hopefully
they're
doesn't
gonna-
spend on that.
they're
Hopefully he
gonna get
saves it
half
for
the
he's
college.
money
or
back.
13,
something.
so that's all.
Yeah, they're gonna get half the money back because a 13-year-old doesn't have anything else to spend his money on. Then
That's why they let him do that.
yeah,
I saw a tweet that said his mom actually threw out his Xbox not too long ago. Like, you play too many video
playing too
games.
much.
You play too many video games and throwing away your Xbox. So his
so now he bought 100 more.
Okay, so like off that point, realistically, like parents think video games are bad for a child. Like
focus
now,
on school.
Yeah, now what do you do whenever it actually has a lot of earning potential?
I mean, obviously you don't take your kid out of school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm definitely not. I'm saying from a productivity standpoint, like
The summer
personally,
you grind.
when I'm raising my kids, I don't want them playing video games for probably even 3 hours a day. Like
Yeah,
I want them to do productive things.
schoolwork, play with their
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. There's a thin line for that too. I mean, you also have to gauge your kid's potential.
yeah.
But how do you do once you're that disconnected? You have no
Yeah,
idea.
I mean,
You-
in 15 years, we're not going to know anything about anybody's
Yep.
potential because we're not going to know anything about the video games.
Well, you might not. I'm
Yeah.
gonna stay involved.
I guess.
But I mean, I guess you kind of treat it like, in my mind, you treat it kind of like if your kid wants to be a professional athlete.
yeah.
I mean, there are ways where you can kind of like support that and keep them realistic and like, have backup plans and stuff.
But here's my idea. So lots of kids want to be professional athletes, but they don't become professional athletes. Most of them, obviously, not. But parents like sports more because it's physical and they're active and teamwork, which you do get an aspect of teamwork in esports, but it's seen as a better thing. Even to me, it's like,
Because it's physical, because it's more
Yes.
physical
Yes.
activity.
and it's almost more socially acceptable as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't. I mean, I played a lot of video games when I was younger, and I think it kind of like there's still a stigma that you're a nerdy kid that
Right.
played video games. So, as a parent, maybe you try to shy your kid away from that area.
Which is
I
what
don't
that
know,
guy's mom tried to do.
Yeah. So I'm trying to say, why should give me reasons to why you should let your kid play video games for longer than
A reasonable amount of time.
an hour a day
Yeah.
or so.
So, I mean, I think I was raised my parents didn't really give me a limitation on
Yeah.
time, but they kept me active. They made me play sports.
Yeah.
I made me play football. I made me play basketball. I played in middle school. I played track, or I didn't run track. I threw for track. You can tell from my physique.
Big track guys right here.
You ran the marathon.
Yikes. So they kept me active. So as long as my grades didn't slip,
Yeah.
they didn't really care.
Yeah.
As long as I was playing in sports, which if you're doing that, you don't have a ton of time afterwards anyways,
Right.
including your schoolwork.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if your kid comes to you and says, "Mom, Dad, I'm third in the world in this game."
Yeah.
Okay, son, but it's your bedtime.
Okay, but have you played soccer today?
Actually, okay, here I'm gonna reframe this a little bit. So I played video games a ton when I was younger. I was pretty good, and I feel like I wasted a lot of time playing video games because once I got to college, I never struggled in school. I aced everything I did, and then once I got to college, I played Xbox still the same amount that I used to, and I started to struggle in college. And then I realized, okay, I'm cutting this out. Now I fill my time with productive things, and it makes me have this kind of animus towards video games, like it's a waste of time. So, I guess keep expounding on why it's not a waste of time, because I do have reasons now. I'll bring up in a minute why am buying an Xbox in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, you're getting back into it.
Yeah. I'll explain.
Dylan, you want to go first, or you want me to?
No, you go for it.
Okay, so, I mean, nowadays it's a way to almost connect and be competitive with your friends.
Yes.
Whether you're just playing for fun or you're trying to play competitive, it keeps you engaged with those people. There is some downsides of usually like I'm competitive. There's some people that aren't. They just play for fun.
Yeah.
But I want to not necessarily be the best, but I want to be competitive. And I don't want to spawn and then be eliminated almost instantly.
Yeah.
You know, that's not fun. But to be competitive is fun to me. You know, some people just have fun just walking around the map and don't really care.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, it's a good way to relax.
Yeah.
Can be too relaxing. Sometimes it's not relaxing. It's a good way to connect with your friends.
That was always my biggest thing. I mean, all of my friends in high school, that's what we did. Like, that's how we didn't call each other, and, I mean, we didn't, this was before everybody had unlimited texting, so, like, how we communicated was we got on and we played Halo together, or we played Call of Duty together, and we talked over the mic, and so that was, like,
and bullied each other.
That was, like, my social, like, group was all, like, video games.
Yeah.
So, I actually think that, in a way, it's almost good. You get bullied a little bit online. I mean,
you could develop some tough skin.
Everyone's talking about your mother.
Yeah,
online.
I was gonna say that.
I see stuff in the news that's like, oh, this person said this. I'm like, they need to go to
play
a Call of
Xbox.
Duty
Halo
Modern
lobby.
Warfare 2 lobby, and
Get roasted.
then they realize that nothing that they ever hear in public could even be remotely bad.
But you do have that sort of protection online of.
Yeah.
But then when somebody talks bad about your mother, you show them up in game,
That's right.
and
That's
then
right.
you talk
Teabag
bad about
'em.
their mother.
Meet me on Rust.
1v1 me.
Quick scope Rust.
Scopes.
All right, so Keaton, what was your argument? Dylan, are you done with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. So my reasoning for wanting to buy an Xbox is kind of the exact same thing
Hang
you
out
guys
with
said.
the bros.
Hang out with the boys, like, especially like with the chance that I'm like moving away next year. I figured it's the best way to stay connected. And then also my little brothers, they've got into Xbox, so I try to not monitor them, but like have some kind of connection with them. I want to be that cool brother, I guess, the cool uncle.
Yeah.
So that's my reason for buying an Xbox.
It's almost like social media.
It really
in
is.
aspect.
It's a better social media aspect.
Because you're not
actually communicating.
You're not keyboard warrior.
And it's not like
which you can't do that.
It's not just the point of Xbox isn't just seeking others' approvals, which is a lot of what other social medias have. So
my one problem though is I'm not gonna play it enough to where I'm good, and I hate that. Okay. I stopped playing to get good grades, and then I tried to like play a little bit just because I really enjoyed it, but I sucked and I hated it. So then I was just like, screw this, I'm done for good. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to get over the not being as good as everyone else.
So when I went to college, my parents didn't let me take my Xbox.
Yeah,
and I could
have done that.
I could have. I looking back, it's not that big a deal. But I think at the time I was kind of like, this sucks. But they wanted me to focus on school.
Yeah.
And it helped me get involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think I would have been at least somewhat smart about it and not stayed up till ridiculously late playing, unless it was like a Friday night.
You like to think that, but
some people that might make them resent their parents, but in the moment, hindsight, I was always 20/20.
Yeah,
but when it came to like sophomore year, I moved in with like our quad. We had 7 roommates or 7 quad mates, and one of them had an Xbox, so we'd play on the weekends or after school and after work.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of have like a little LAN party.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was fun. That's when my grades slipped up a little bit, but that was also when I was having harder classes too.
Yeah.
So, there's a mixture, but it's a good stress reliever when you don't take it too serious.
Yeah.
So let's run through. We've kind of gotten off topic, which is perfect, but back to kind of our agenda. So you got $50K in the Fortnite World Cup for just playing. That's solos and duos.
Blows my mind.
What would you do with 50,000? That's close to what I make in a year.
I mean, pay off mine and my wife's
That beats
student
me.
All right, Keaton. What'd you say, Dillon?
Pay off mine and my wife's student debt instantly, which would be
You need to quit your
insane.
job and start playing. So that's ridiculous. If you got less than 20th place, so 20th to 100. No, that's the duos. Maybe that was solos.
20 to 50
20 to 50.
for solos, right?
No, 20 to 100 for solos was 50,000.
Oh, yeah.
Duos, I think, was less. I look
It's
up
a
the
lot of
standings.
money.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
a
lot
lot of money just for playing. Just for showing up to New York and playing.
Which
you got
you did
50,000.
have to like meet
Qualify.
the requirements.
Yeah,
for
so
the
you did have to
qualifying
qualify.
round.
They had 10 weeks of qualifying.
Yeah.
You had to be in the top. So like every region, there's what is it?
Rankings.
There's what?
Rankings.
Well, not rankings, but I mean there is rankings, but there's different sections of like time zones. So like North America East, North America West, Europe, Oceania was another, and I think there was
Latin
another.
America is one.
So each one got their own. Okay, so Oceania only got 2 players, I think, each week, and North America got like 5. And sometimes, the same player would qualify more than once,
right.
which great for them, but
Yeah.
it didn't mean anything. So it was open qualifier. It literally could have been anybody. If I was really good, I could have made it, even though I'm not on an esports team, which I think is kind of game changing.
Yeah.
But $30 or $30 million, not $30, $30 million prize pool. First place, 16-year-old got $3 million. I'm sure half of it went to taxes.
Yeah. Which going back to what you said about not having to be on a team, that is game changing because we talked about like in Overwatch and League,
Call of Duty,
and Call of Duty, which are games that I like have known more about than Fortnite, just because I don't follow.
Because you've been
Fortnite.
watching them for a while.
Yeah, but there is nothing from those companies there's no sort of like tournament set up for people that aren't on Overwatch League or LCS teams
or an esports team.
Yeah, an esports team for Call of Duty. Like the way that they just like opened it to the public for avenues, and that's how you get like 13-year-olds, because he would never have been on an esports team. He couldn't be. They don't have people under like 18 on esports teams.
They do, and some of them they do now.
Really?
Yeah. So FaZe had some
That's
guys.
gotta
They
be
also got into some trouble because they got a guy that was 12, and so they're in
that's-
actually like a lawsuit right now about it.
well.
But 13 in California.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
they didn't have to worry about any of that because they weren't like signing contracts or like giving them like jobs. I mean, it was just a way for them to compete. So yeah, that was just like I liked that a lot about how they did this tournament.
So kind of some pros to being on an esports team is you get connections for like editing. You can get quality editors. You get usually a salary.
Yep.
So like some of them they get like $2,000 a month. They have the opportunity to live in their esports houses.
Yep.
Wow.
They help them grow like their channels. They advertise for them because obviously these like Twitters and stuff for these esports are huge. They have a lot of followers.
Yep.
So they help them grow. They give them ideas. I know, like FaZe, they really encourage vlogging for their esports guys. So it's just ways to grow their channel. So good connections. But when you win in your contract, you have to give up some of your. They can take certain earnings of yours, whether it's from Twitch, advertisements, sponsorships,
Smart
merch,
business model.
Yeah.
If you win a tournament, they can get a portion of it. So there's a give and take, but it can really help you grow if you can't win a big tournament. So back to those games. I mean, none of them are as big as Fortnite. Like we said, Halo, $50,000 prize pool. One player in Fortnite earned just as much as an entire prize pool for the last Halo tournament.
And it wasn't even the first place player.
Yeah, last place.
Yeah.
Next, like
Call
of Duty tournament for Worlds is coming up this month in August. $2 million prize pool. Last League of Legends was $6.5 million prize pool, and Overwatch was $5 million. And League and Overwatch are old, so
yeah,
they're still doing well on their prize pools. And I believe their esports teams have to buy in, don't they, to those?
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of pay a premium to get in.
And that's why like we were talking about all the random esports teams for the Fortnite tournament that I had never heard of.
And I never heard of it.
Because I'm used to League of Legends and Overwatch where there's like, it's kind of like there's these old like powerful teams that like that's the goal is to be on that team so that you can compete, and there's not a lot of like ways for new teams to enter that arena
because it's so expensive.
Yeah,
you have to pay your players, you have to pay to get into the tournaments. So in Fortnite with their world tournament, in their qualifiers, they actually had players cheat. They had 3 players cheat or get caught. That doesn't mean there wasn't more.
Yeah, there probably was more,
but they only got banned for 4 weeks, so they couldn't play in 4 weeks of the qualifiers after cheating, getting caught cheating. And they
still made it, right?
So one of the players was not very good, so he was kind of out. That's why he was feeding them kills to get them points.
Mm-hmm.
But the 2 players that got caught, like that were like good enough to make it, they
played duos.
They played duos together, and they won $50,000.
Yeah.
Even though they got caught cheating.
Cheated a month before.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, ethically,
you want to do that together?
Yeah, let's.
It's video games. I have no ethics.
Let's feed Evan kills.
Well, I'm trash, so
I'll take 10,000.
You have a better chance of making it than Keaton and I do.
Yeah.
So.
That's not saying much, but ethically, I mean, that's pretty horrible. I mean, you think about it. You cheated, you got caught cheating, and you made it. So that means 2 other players didn't have the opportunity to make it. So you could have just cost somebody at least $50,000.
Yeah. I mean, that could have. What if that was Booga?
Yeah.
I mean, or
could
someone
cost
better
$3
than
million.
Booga.
Yeah.
Like, that's
like
crazy.
Evan, what if they?
Yeah,
took
they
your
cheated
spot
me out of my spot.
They probably
guys.
did take your spot. You were probably 102.
Yeah, it's just so sad.
Who's your duo partner?
You hate to see it.
I play both accounts. That's how good I am. That's why I was 102nd.
You play solo duos.
I play on Switch on one and then Xbox on the other. So Dillon, you're big into League of Legends. There was a new map that came out. No, new game mode.
Yeah, new game mode. So it was like really big amongst the YouTubers.
Did they just play for fun, or?
Yeah, there's like a ranked system in it now, but there's no like competitive because it's like 100% RNG based. So it's like an auto chess game. So you get like these pieces and then you play them on a board, and then but the pieces that you roll are completely random every time. So that's like one of the big complaints about it is how RNG based it is, and I don't think that stuff like that can really be in this same like competitive conversation, just because there's a lot less skill involved and a lot more. Oh, I got the right rolls this time. But yeah, well,
that's how Battle Royale is. It's all. I mean, it's not all RNG. You whether you get a good gun or a mediocre gun, you still have to be good.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you hit your shots, you have a better chance than if you don't hit your shots. But there's like nothing like that. I mean, I guess the way that you like lay the pieces out has a little bit of like skill involved, but I mean, it's so much RNG but I mean, a lot of people have fun with it. I've played it. It's pretty fun, but definitely can't be like in the same arena.
Well, that's not the only game mode there is in League, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's not like you have to play it.
Right. So the main game mode is just kind of like, I mean, it's basically the same as Dota. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a MOBA. Massive online battle arena, I think is what that stands for, but there's like 3 lanes and you're pushing from your base and trying to get into their base, but it's not like first person or anything. You're like seeing the whole map from above, and you click where you want your person to go instead of like controlling them with a joystick, WASD or a joystick. So, but I've played League for
cooking.
I think like almost 8 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. That's probably the only game that I have played for that amount of time. Like, the only game that I still play that I was playing 8 years ago.
Well, riddle me this. I don't know why I said that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so in League, it's the same map, right? That's been around for 8 years or however long. I don't know how long it's been around, but
Yeah.
And they just update it all the time.
There was a pretty big overhaul of like just visually a couple years ago, but I mean, as far as like structure and map layout, it doesn't change very often. But I mean, obviously, it's different every game.
And do they add more characters?
Yeah, there's been a lot of champions added since I started playing.
Champions, that's what they're called.
Yeah. So I mean, it is always changing because stuff. I mean, just like in Fortnite or any other game, stuff always being balanced or reworked or nerfed or buffed or whatever you want to call it. So, but yeah, it's the competitive and like pro arena in League is pretty big, just because it's a very team-based game. Because I mean, it's 5v5 every game. There's no solos or duos or anything like that. So the esports aspect or the team aspect of esports plays into it really well. So I think that's why it has been successful and is still successful, even though it's, I mean, I don't even know how old, because it wasn't new when I started playing it 8 years ago. But so I think that's why it has lived for so long and still is kind of thriving. I mean, you say thriving when you're looking at it next to Fortnite. It doesn't look like it's thriving, but I mean, a 6.5 million prize pool is nothing to
shy away from.
Nothing to shy away from, just because it's not the 30 million that Fortnite had.
I think Fortnite's just trying to capitalize on their popularity at the time.
I think so too.
So I think you told me right that you've been to an esports event.
Yeah, I actually went to LA. It's been.
Did Tiffany go with you?
No.
Okay.
No. I didn't know her at the time, but
shoot.
It's been like probably 4 years ago, I think. We went to LA where Riot, which is the company that created League of Legends, they have their headquarters there and they have a big arena. So we went and watched the playoffs for the World Championships in LA. We watched our team win and make it to the championships, but they didn't win. But they won while we were there, so that felt pretty good. The arena is super cool too. I mean, there's something just kind of surreal about being in this like massive, really nice facility, watching people play video games with other people who are there to watch people play video games. But it was, I mean, I loved it. It was really cool, and you should.
I hope to experience that someday.
Yeah, you should go to a Fortnite tournament someday.
I won't go to a League, but because I don't know anything, I wouldn't understand a lot that's going on.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, Fortnite. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna have more big ones or smaller ones, but I got to get some more vacation from work.
Yeah, there you go.
So Keaton, do you see yourself ever going to an esports?
No.
Even if your kid was in it?
If my kid was in it, or if my friend was in it.
Okay.
I might go.
Okay.
Maybe.
Did they get you free tickets?
Probably call my kid a nerd.
Get wrecked, nerd. So in October, so it's August in October, so a couple months away, the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which isn't a remaster. It's a standalone game. It doesn't involve the same timeline as the other three. It's getting released on October 25th. You guys have watched. Dillon, you've watched a lot. Keaton has watched some.
I've seen some, and that's another reason to get an Xbox. So it looks amazing.
The realism of it is fantastic.
Okay, so you said, because the storyline has the same characters. Is it
Some
before
of them.
or after Modern Warfare 2?
I think it's. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's an alternate timeline.
Oh,
I believe because what I heard was it has Captain Price, which is who was in 1, 2, and 3, and he didn't die in 3.
I don't think so.
I
didn't play all of 3's campaign. I don't think, but
I played all. No, he lived because he killed Yuri.
That's right. Okay, I did
whoa,
play
whoa,
that
whoa,
one.
come on.
I did
Sorry,
play that one 'cause I remember that.
shoot.
I haven't played it yet.
How?
Like 8 years old at this point.
Yeah, no end game spoilers, guys. Come on. So So he's alive. I don't think it ends at that point. Or, I mean, I don't think Modern Warfare starts at that point. Because if it did, they would call it Modern Warfare 4.
Yeah.
That would make sense to me.
That would make sense, but...
So you've watched... So it's going to have a campaign.
Mm-hmm.
They're debating on how realistic to make it, which I don't know if that's concerning or uplifting.
Yeah. Who knows?
For other people, I'm sure I could handle it, but some person is going to buy it for their 13-year-old kid, and they're going to have nightmares because.
Well, it was like the Modern Warfare 2. That level had like a
no Russian.
Yeah, it had a
banned in Russia, of course.
It had a
just killing civilians.
A disclaimer at the beginning of the game that said, like specifically, there's this one level that's disturbing. Do you want to skip it?
I put yes. I was
yeah,
a good
right.
kid.
I don't believe that for a second. It's called No Russian. You basically go to an airport and eliminate characters, civilians in an airport as a terrorist act. I don't know if that game could survive now.
Would not go over well.
Yeah, I don't think that.
It was actually banned in Russia because you're killing Russians.
Yeah.
But well, they're fake, guys. They're fake Russians.
Not real Russians.
They're not real.
You don't know
no Russians were harmed in the making of
we
that
could
game.
be a video game right now.
Yeah,
it's all a simulation.
Yeah, this is the Matrix. So they're talking about how realistic to make it.
Yeah,
they still don't know. Maybe I don't know if it's going to be choice based because I think Black Ops 2 definitely had choices where you could have several different outcomes.
Really? I don't remember that.
Black Ops 2. I just put up the number 3 and I said 2 at the same time.
Pick number 3 mode.
Number 3.
So, what were your thoughts of the multiplayer of the game? That's what we all care about. We all play campaign for a little bit and then we play multiplayer.
I like to know the story of the campaign, but I mean, I could take or leave the gameplay of the campaign. But yeah, the multiplayer. I mean, it looks kind of like a throwback to Modern Warfare 2, but like a little bit heavier. So it kind of has, we were talking about this earlier, kind of has a little bit of a Battlefield feel to it.
Slow, because you feel slower.
Just in the sense of like, you feel slower and it doesn't have like what some of the Black Ops started to have where you like are more like robot alien than human and you're like climbing walls and using
advanced
jetpacks
movement is
and
what
stuff.
they call it. Yeah, jetpacks.
Yeah, so that was garbage, but it looks more like kind of classic Call of Duty feel, so that's exciting.
Keaton, you saw it, right?
Yeah. I thought it looked amazing. It looked really realistic to me, and the graphics looked incredible, and the sound was what really like got me. I was like, this just sounds this sounds real. This is insane.
I mean, the graphic, they put a new engine out.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting a lot. I mean, I haven't seen anything in 4K. My TV doesn't do 4K, so
poor.
Yes. Sorry, guys. My
We've
Cash App is
that you make more than me and Keaton do. So
Cash App me.
Yeah, he makes $214,000 a year as a cowboy model. So
I know. I
don't feel bad.
I tried
for
to
him.
break into the cowboy modeling scene, but they said
it's not good looking enough.
They said I wasn't hairy enough.
Yikes. Back on topic, fellas. So it feels heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the recoil patterns.
Yeah.
It seemed realistic in that. I mean, this is supposed to be. It's titled as the most realistic Call of Duty yet, and like I said, I don't know if that's good or bad. There's no mini map, which in real life, I don't know if you know this, but when you're in war, you're out on the field. There's no mini map there, so.
Well, then I'm not going.
It's hardcore only in real life. So,
they kind of went with the Fortnite aspect with the compass up at the top.
Yeah, that's interesting, and they put arrows to where gunfight is, like gunfire's coming from.
Yeah, may or may not happen in real war. None of us have ever been in real war. That could happen.
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously hear where gunfights are happening.
Yeah, that's true.
So, would you like it to be as realistic as possible? Is that a good
No,
thing?
not as realistic as possible because I don't want to die from one bullet.
Yeah,
okay.
like a stray bullet.
But when it comes to
Being a video game realistic.
the looks and the sound of the gun and how the recoil sort of is, yeah, I want it to be as realistic as possible.
See,
Agreed.
okay.
But yeah, as realistic as possible. Then what is like?
And still make it fun as a video
like
game.
you
I guess.
die once and then you just have to return the game. That was it.
This isn't
You
Minecraft
lived-
hardcore.
You lived your Call of Duty life. But yeah, no, I think that as far as like guns and like even maybe like player movement and like sound and feel of guns and sound and feel of like explosions and all that kind of stuff, I think realistic is better.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think the faces look fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're all videos, so
Yeah.
they can spice it up a little bit
Right.
rather than in live gameplay. But watched a lot of videos. If you're interested in it, make sure you pre-order and make sure you watch a lot of videos on it because they're starting to release quite a bit of multiplayer gameplay of different weapons. Keaton, I don't know if you were watching the video that we were watching earlier about the gunsmithing.
No.
So
No.
certain guns can turn into other guns. So you can have the option I keep hearing is an AK-47 into a AK-74U,
Oh, like
which
the
one's a submachine
gun.
gun, one's an assault rifle. But they're different calibers. I don't know how realistic that's going to be in that aspect, knowing about
Yeah.
firearms quite a bit. The AUG, which is a bullpup rifle, they're supposed to... In Modern Warfare 2 was an LMG.
Mm-hmm.
In
But it had the
It's
smallest
been an
clip.
assault rifle
magazine.
in one of the Call of Duties that I
Yeah,
played.
and so I don't think it was Modern Warfare 3. I think it was a Black Ops game. I think it was Black Ops 1.
Yeah.
It was an assault rifle, which it's not really an LMG in real life. It's an AR.
And Counter-Strike, it's always been an AR.
But so you can make really the only difference between a quote unquote SMG and an AR is basically the length of the barrel, size of the barrel, caliber, and overall length. Those are the really only determining factors making an AR into a submachine gun.
Mm-hmm.
So
if they just take a saw
More power
to
to him.
yeah, they take a saw and make
take a
the
saw, cut that bad boy in half, and you got a SMG.
Sawed-off assault rifle.
sawed-off assault rifle,
There we
aka
go.
SMG. And do you guys remember Ghost? Call of Duty Ghost?
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
I didn't
Keaton?
play that one.
Okay.
I played it a little bit, but
It wasn't all that great. The maps were it was a good game. The maps were bad. So there's a gun in there called the Honey Badger, and it has an integrated suppressor. And apparently you can take your M4 and make it into a Honey Badger. I don't know. That's kind of some rumors going around. Kill streaks are some of them being released. Juggernaut. Well, what do you think about, speaking of kill streaks, what do you think about score streaks versus kill streaks?
Score streaks always.
Always?
Really?
Yep. No
Okay.
more campers.
score
Give me
streaks are
points for
lame.
blowing up the bomb.
Score streaks are lame. Anybody who plays the objective is lame.
I play the objective because
I'm
I
just
can't
kidding.
get kills.
I play the objective, but
I try to
but
do a little
always-
bit of both.
I
but-
always liked kill streaks more. Like Modern Warfare 2 was the last game that I remember like kill streaks feeling
OP.
like something that you actually like worked for, and you weren't just running around and then you look down and you're like, oh, I have 2
UAVs.
score streaks to use. It was something that was like in Modern Warfare 2, like you had your
5
first,
kills.
You got like your first like 4 kills and you're like, oh, okay, it's starting.
About to get
And
this
then
hair
You
right.
get the sweats. You
Predator
get the
missile.
sweats going on your
Then you
face.
had to get the Predator to hopefully get 2 more kills so you could get the Harrier and then
Get your chopper gunner.
yeah.
And then not get your nuke because you only had 3 slots and
Yeah.
use it on a
Big
predator.
mistake.
Yeah.
You always go Harrier,
Harrier,
chopper,
chopper gunner.
nuke.
I usually went Predator, Chopper Gunner, Nuke.
Oh, okay.
What?
Yeah, 5 to 10 was way easier for me than 0 to 7.
I could see that because a lot of times I see myself getting 5 kills and then dying.
Yeah,
But-
but if you get 5 kills, then you go hide somewhere and use your Predator and maybe pick up 1 or 2, and then you only have to get 3 more. So
Yeah, or
No.
you just wait and get.
You know,
But
I don't like this, but well, let's go.
this is showing how bad Keaton really was at video games.
Heck no, man! I had the Harrier Chopper Gunner nuke set up all day.
How many nukes did you get?
4.
Okay, I was only at like 9, so I lost track after 8.
Oh yeah, I was too busy making my montages of quick scoping.
Did you actually
too
make?
busy
You want to shout out your montage videos, Keaton?
1v1ing kids.
Yeah,
on
I don't
Rust.
know. They are on my cousin's YouTube somewhere that I don't know what his
Oh.
YouTube is. So no.
Okay, well. So what do you think about the beta? We're gonna wrap it up pretty quick, but what do you think about the beta coming out for PS4 before Xbox One, like a week? I don't know the exact date, but
How
it's
much
like
did they pay for that?
Since I just sold my PS4 for an Xbox One, I'm sad. But I mean, PS4 always did have the better exclusives, so I mean, I'm kind of just used to it.
What about Halo?
Yeah, I mean, but that's all that Xbox had.
That's enough.
I mean,
It's a whole
obviously-
game,
obviously,
a whole
it's
series.
an incredible game, and probably my favorite game of all time. But PS4 had a lot of really good standalone exclusives, but that's for another podcast.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah.
I'm kind of upset, but the last couple they've got before, and okay, well, what about cross-platform? So
Absolutely should be a part of
every game
that comes out from here on out, and probably should have been part of every game for the past decade. But
So Fortnite
as-
was the breaker for that.
as long as
Fortnite.
they can like finally get their stuff together and start having that consistently, then that's what they need to do.
I agree. I mean, in reality, an Xbox and PS4 is literally just a computer in
Yeah.
a box. So
There's no reason that they should. I mean, they only do it
Because they want to beat each other.
because they want to make more money than the other. But
They've realized that
Shame.
they pretty much have equal market share,
Well,
so they might as well
yeah.
just.
well, I think PC gaming is just exploding so much now. Stuff's becoming cheaper, becoming more effective, efficient,
yeah,
and I think they're going to lose out on some of that. So they're trying to bring people back. That's my thought. I don't know.
agreed. No, yeah, I
Um,
think that's
So that's kind of the end of the agenda. There's some other things, but we're getting
We hit
kind of
most
towards
of
the end. Keaton, do you have any closing thoughts? What do you think about what closing thoughts about esports, Fortnite, or hot takes?
Hot take: you guys should donate money to me because I do cool things.
just
Somewhere,
not on
just at my
Twitch.
house. That's my hot take.
Oh, okay.
Hot take.
Yeah, you don't
Hot
have to say
take.
anything.
Cash App Keaton at Keaton Minor with 3 money signs after it.
Is that really what it is?
I don't think so.
I just
Oh,
made that up
okay.
completely. If it
maybe
is, then I think you have to pay me money because I just guessed that.
Hot take. Call of Duty is going to explode. Fortnite will still stay relevant.
Nah, dead game.
I think Fortnite will still stay relevant.
I
They're
know.
doing enough to
I've been
stay
saying
relevant.
dead game for years, and I've been wrong. But
Well, it's only been out for 2 years.
both of the
Years.
years, both of those 2 years.
I've been saying it's a dead game for 3 years.
Literally, like when Apex came out, I was like, okay, this is it. But
Apex flopped because they didn't put as much work in as Epic Games.
yeah,
But I think Fortnite will stay relevant. I think streamers will continue to play it. I guess that's it for us. Thanks for tuning in at Simply Technical.
Yeah.
Make sure to check us out on YouTube, Spotify.
you're gonna put links. I'm pointing like
No, I'm not putting links. That's too
it's-
much work. Thank you, Dillon, for joining us.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, we'll be doing another podcast with Dillon soon. Back to school stuff and why you shouldn't bring your Xbox to college. That's Dillon's.
I'm not the one to talk about that.
Okay. Well, thanks. This has been Simply Technical.